Hello friends, welcome back. Having gone through the journey of foreseeing, visualizing innovations with reference to product, price and distribution, now we are moving ahead towards promotion. Integrated marketing communication, one of the most exciting and interesting parts. Well, it's not that we are undermining the other parts, it is one of my favorites actually, because it is one of the most visible elements actually. Advertisements, messages, most visible about any organization, any product, any person for that matter. And it's whole lot of world, and I've been talking about this in my course integrated marketing communication, that somehow if you associate or synchronize different kinds of advertisements into one storyboard, creating some common chord and relationship between different kinds of advertisements and make it a 1 hour movie, it would be one of the most enjoyable movies you would ever see. And that you can do on YouTube by flipping on one to this, and then you can line up those advertisements for yourself and you would realize what I am talking of. It's a mesmerizing world of integrated marketing communication. It has already faced or seen or witnessed so much of innovation all through. It's one of the most focused areas for innovation. Communication innovation is today you have communication designers who actually design communication. You have visual designers, you have product designers, you have communication designers. So earlier there was copywriters or people who could visualize the words, the language, who could visualize the storyboard, who could visualize what you would go through. But today you have communication designers. That is where communication innovation or integrated marketing communication innovation has reached to. It's a story of evolution all through. And this story, if you would go around, you would realize that it is already where we can point out different kinds of innovations in different kinds of spheres. I would be talking about communication first, elements of communication later on, then elements of integrated marketing communication, and I would be trying to project that this evolution itself is an innovation story. Then there is a scope of innovation within all the elements separately, elements of communication and elements of integrated marketing communication. I would be coming to this. And then there is a scope of innovation within the integration of these elements as well, and so on. So it's an interesting perspective when we go for understanding innovation with reference to integrated marketing communication. So you see, but this during this evolution we have realized that communication is what we have always wanted to do. At this moment I am trying to communicate with you. You would be listening to these videos later on. We may not be able to meet probably ever. We would be communicating with each other through different modes, through mails, through kind of your queries later on. And this is a sort of an innovation. Today I would be reaching to you through these recorded videos. It's a simple kind of an example which we are at this moment going through. Thanks to this recording studio, thanks to the e-cell of IIT Roorkee, thanks to NPTEL, National Portal for Technology Enabled Learning, who have created this kind of an infrastructure, thanks to my support team and my TAs and my associates who are supporting me in all through in developing this course. I am just delivering this to you. My work is very simple, but if you look into this innovation perspective, it entails whole lot of a story and so much of technological innovation. This camera where I am speaking, in front of this camera today. So this is again a very big innovation in itself, which has enabled this kind of a communication all through. So you see, but again the most important point is this happened because of our desire of communication. We always wanted to do this. We always wanted to talk to more and more of people. We always wanted to talk more and more. And that is where WhatsApp and Facebook and this and those kind of things, they have evolved, they have become the part of lives of people, they have become the part of contentions for people, they have become every part of every person. Mobile phone, they as and I have talked about this earlier as well, it has become part of a body, as they have started calling it. Every now and then, at this moment also, some of you are actually watching your mobile phones. You are looking into your mobile phones. Somehow you just don't want to get away from there. You just don't want to switch it off and keep it away for a while at least. No. Somehow your brain tells you, no, you would be losing on something if you are not looking into that. So at this particular moment also, many of you are doing that. It has become an instinct somehow, because something comes to your mind, you want to tell someone something. Something comes to your mind, you want to learn from someone, you want to communicate somehow. So you see, I can go on and on this basically, and these are very important things. But where would it have started? Some people say that it started from when people started running to tell people to one thing to the when messengers used to run. Then messengers, they started using horses, horse riders, especially in war times and between kings, and those kind of that kind of a communication was required. So messengers, personal messengers or physical messengers were where the story started. Then people started using birds, pigeons, and you have songs on this. So pigeons were being used because somehow they were trained to reach back home, so they were transported to, and we all know that. So then several other birds were being used for these kind of purposes, and there were countermeasures to stop this kind of a communication as well during war times also. So you see, that story starting from messengers to pigeons to reach to a postal system, and then several postal systems, they started getting integrated with each other, where an international postal system it came in. In the meanwhile, telecommunication technology, electronics was being continuously getting upgraded. Different kinds of courses were being developed, different kinds of inputs were being given by scientists and people who are working upon such kind of a technological development. And on the other side, linguistic association was being developed between different kinds of nations, because people started traveling from this place to that place. Language was getting exchanged, a mix of language was getting generated. So you see, on one side technological development, on the other side mix of language or language exchange was going on. Language exchange was building up cultural exchange, and on the other side a requirement for communication between nations through international postal system was coming up, and integration getting started, coming into being, and that is where integration factor in communication got associated somehow. It's just a simple narrative of how things would have happened. They might have happened exactly the same way, or slightly different, or much different, but the point of the story is that this is how it went on. And then this postal system, it started enabling telesystems. So telegraphs, telegrams, teleprinters, and then this code language started coming in. So you had codes which you transferred on these kind of machines, and the codes were deciphered at that kind of end. You remember those old spy movies, wherein this kind of someone hides this kind of a thing basically somewhere, and they are sending coded message ... dash. So those kind of things are there. So that was very exciting, and then that became a general part of our life also. I remember people used to get telegram, and telegram meant urgency, and the most beautiful part of one's life could have been, and I think still it is somehow, the physical letter. When you used to write, and then people used to receive that, and then someone read that. So that there are several songs and stories, there are movies on that basically, letters basically, and then there are famous books written by great people on letters. There are several kinds of lessons we have learned through letters and so on. And then I remember I read one of the letters written by Bapu, Mahatma Gandhi ji, and that created an impression on my mind. I remember I read a letter written by Jamshedji to Dorabji when he wrote a letter from I think Mumbai, and Dorabji was Sir Dorabji was in Jamshedpur. So how he guided his son to develop Tata Steels. So letters made very important contribution. So those kind of things are there, and a very important kind of contribution, and we can go on and as far as this whole situation goes. So then came in somehow this tele word started getting associated with vision as well, and television came in. And this changed the world completely. First in terms of black and white, and then in terms of colored, and when colored television in 1980s they came in, and whole lot of a communication perspective around products and in general also changed. News media came in, and then the advertising changed to a different levels. Basically audio visual advertising became very prominent. On the other side, radio advertising was going on, and radio still is a very large media in terms of FM, AM and shortwave, which has a very large range. And I have talked about these kind of things in my earlier discussions, and especially in integrated marketing communication. You may refer to that subject as well. Then somehow fax came in. Complete letter is it comes out of the machine at that particular kind of a moment. Immediately you just put that letter in the machine, and then it traverses from this place to if humans could have traveled that way, that you just put a human in a machine and human gets out somewhere, that would have been a wonderful part somehow. So paging came in along with faxes and so on, and then the world changed completely. As soon as, and you see, integration is the most important thing. Internet changed the world, and internet on mobile changed it completely. Today you have small device in your hand, and you have movies, you have all the communication, you have all the messaging, you have all the advertisements, you have everything as far as those things go. Having communication through mobile doesn't undermines other platforms, other media options. In fact, every option started getting prominent in its own way, and at the end of the day, to the advantage of marketers, we went for using communication, we went for going for communication through an integrated usage of all the modes of communication, and that is where integrated marketing communication came in. You see, and American Marketing Association talks about marketing communications are coordinated promotional messages and related media used to communicate with a market. So mark these words: coordinated promotional messages and related media, coordination and relation of media. Marketing communications messages are delivered through one or more channels, that is what we are talking of, such as digital media, print, radio, television, direct mail and personal selling. One or more channels or all of them, and that is, and using a cumulative, using all the channels at cumulative level to the advantage of the sender and receiver both is an innovation in itself, and that is where the whole story starts. So you see, innovation has a scope if you look at the perspective of sender, what sender wants to say. So if sender understands this kind of a perspective, sender can be innovative enough in terms of the message which sender would send. How innovatively sender would use words, how innovatively sender would craft those words, how innovatively sender would associate those words with music, with symbols, with visuals and so on, and how receiver would be looking at it in terms of as far as. So this actually talks of innovation all through in terms of as far as this complete process goes. And you see, there also is an element of noise, the clutter as well as overlap and several other kinds of distortions, that is what we refer to as noise. For further details, you may refer to the reference which we have used here, Kotler, Keller, Ang, Tan, Leong, Marketing Management Asian Perspective. So reduction of noise is also an innovation in itself. It can be technological, it can be related to messaging and innovation in messaging, it can be association of symbols and visuals to reduce clutter, it can be just by being more creative and so on. So, you see, messaging is the key, and the development of the communication message begins with the objectives and the positioning statement. We have clear cut objectives, that is one part, and there is a positioning statement, that is another part, that is important. So, the overall theme of campaign needs to be encapsulated succinctly and then built upon the to create specific messages for each communication method and medium to be used. Visualization of this kind of a relationship between these elements has to be innovative in terms of what words to be used here. I have talked about this earlier as well. Just to briefly refer to, just now stop this video, open up one of your most favorite advertisements and try and associate the kinds of words which are being used there. Some music, some some tune, some song, some words and those kind of things, and try and think that how they would have been innovative enough to remain in your mind for so long, to touch your hearts and so on. Effective communication must be based on well developed marketing strategy, on a detailed understanding of the target audience and on well defined objectives. The communication must be persuasive, must gain the audience attention. I would be talking about these elements in detail when I would be focusing upon the concentricity of integrated marketing communication and rest of the piece, and I would be elaborating on that section at length, because that probably would be the last section in terms of whole lot of this discussion on marketing mix which we are having in terms of innovation. And you see, that is an important element when we would start our story from concentricity of this innovation in marketing communication. But till then we have to keep thinking in terms of where are the touch points which enable us to innovation in marketing communication, integrated marketing communication specifically. So, in developing the message, there is likely to be a combination of images, as I was talking about, words, sounds and other stimuli depending on the media to be used. I remember one or two advertisements targeted at pets, and it's a famous example. There have been marketing researches which say that several pet owners, they watch televisions along with their pets sitting besides them, and pets, they started recognizing the food for which has been advertised for them in due course of time through different kinds of stimuli procedures which were introduced or deliberately or unknowingly by the owners and so on. And as soon as this advertisement comes in, this pet pays more attention to that kind of an advertisement and so on. So, you see, that is where creativity is coming on, that even the pets are being targeted through that kind of a communication, and if pet starts liking that product through that communication, basically pet has a larger stimuli in terms of consuming that product and the product sales gets affected. So, that is the perspective we are talking about as far as whole lot of and then media choice, time of this communication and so on. So, if you will sequentially go for the sender receiver relationship which we have just seen, then you can go for choice of media, then you can go for time of advertisement, then you can always associate word symbols with what we are talking of as far as this whole situation goes. The message is therefore transmitted by a variety of stimuli which must be translated into signs by the message creator, then interpreted by the target audience. The study of signs and how they are interpreted is called semiotics and is useful tool in the creation, pre-testing, evaluation of marketing communications. For detail, you can refer to my course Integrated Marketing Communication on NPTEL. An in-depth understanding of the message recipients is required to ensure that the message will be interpreted as it was intended and that the signs do not have unforeseen negative connotations as well. Here comes innovation in the understanding of language. Signs, symbols, words, how they get deciphered, how they get understood. Should we be always focusing upon the fundamental words which are understood by all through the similar kind of connotation as, for example, life, love and so on? Or should we be focusing upon different words to talk about different kinds of elements, a mix of it? Should we be using multiple languages in today's era? Should we be associating different kinds of storyboards and scenes with different kinds of words to emphasize upon the point which we are talking about, and so on. You see, that is where this removal of negative connotation, enhancement of positive connotation comes in, and this understanding itself requires to be creativity, to being innovative. Creativity in itself is innovation, and creativity with spontaneous enhancement of strength is itself being innovative. How things can be, and that is where somehow jingles would have come in. That is where somehow within 10 seconds you have to say so much. You use jingle also, you use some storyboard also, you use something. So that is the perspective. You remember that Nerolac paint advertisement basically, and that tune, that Airtel tune, by Mr. A.R. Rahman, and then you have several other kinds of beautiful songs being infused in the storyboard. You definitely would require that. For Airtel, it became a sort of a mark, sort of a recognition mark, that particular kind of a tune that definitely positively affected Airtel's presence and brand value amongst their customers and their users. And this is innovation all about in terms of as far as creativity goes. So you see, these differences are most apparent across cultures, but also occur within national subculture and even family groups also, and several other kinds of elements are there in due course of time. Now let's take one example and try to put up a sort of a perspective around what we have been talking about, and then I will come to integration part of as far as elements of innovation go. And so social media is filled with before and after images of people undergoing transformation, especially physical transformations. People do care about how they look. In fact, almost everyone cares about that. I don't know about myself. However, study conducted by sports brand ASICS found that nearly 3/4 of people believe that society's obsession with the perfect body is damaging our mental health. There is a source given at the in this slide, so we have used this particular kind of a source to put up this point. This may be emphasizing or very absolute, or this may be debatable, but the point is that people do think about their physical health, and that affects them mentally. There are several researches associating these two elements also. If you are mentally happy, your physical health is good. That also is being talked about by several researchers. 80% are demotivated by exercise transformation images, and nearly half, 48%, feel insecure about their bodies after being before and after images, the source says. To highlight the mental health benefits of physical activity while at the same time avoiding the demotivating effect of physical transformation images filled in social media, ASICS launched their before and after campaign. You see, people want to remain fit, that affects their mental health. People are mentally happy, that makes them physically fit as well. There is a two-way relationship between both the things. If you keep your body as a temple, your body would be happy. If you put yourself as mentally happy, then it will traverse within the body itself. ASICS, a shoe manufacturer, talks about this with a positive connotation. They actually promotes it somehow, and in this ASICS showed two images, one and before, one after, of a celebrity once they are done with exercise. And you see, the campaign shows the mental benefits of physical activity in a subtle manner and encourages the customers to be more active, which is a very good thing. You are associated with the customers, and you see, this message actually not only shows your concern, but a true relationship between physical and mental health. The campaign showcases that the most important before and after transformation is the one happening inside. And I was reading this book, Secrets, the Law of Attraction, wherein I read one of the interviews of one of the authors on health specifically. The author talks about how if you are happy, then you can avoid disease as well. They have basis of talking about that. They have several kinds of stories associated with that. people have been talking about laughter as the best medicine, and many companies are projecting laughter and laughter based communication with the health of the customers and hence the sales of the products as well. Have I started talking about concentricity of integrated marketing communication? Yes, I have, but I will be elaborating upon that in due course of time at large. And then you see, we are traversing from creativity in messaging towards methods and media choices now. The effectiveness of a well developed creative message will remain largely dependent upon the choice of methods and media used to execute it. You have to, as I was talking about reach and reach in time in distribution, here also reach and reach in time is the point of concern, but definitely in terms of communication. Specifically, you must reach the person when the person wants to watch that communication, hear that communication, and if you are there at that particular moment with an effective storyboard or words, it would work, and that is what we talked about in sender receiver kind of a situation. So, you see, in an integrated marketing communications campaign, a variety of methods and media is employed to convey a consistent message. The methods and media used will be dependent upon a number of factors including target audiences, the communication preferences, media access and stage in decision making process. But remember these two words, reach and reaching in time. If you are expecting some words to be said to you and somehow those words reach to you, it makes your day. You see, that is the perspective around the value of innovation in integrated marketing communication. That is the value of choice of media, which in itself is lot of innovation when you are creating combination of media and methods and perspective around that. There is a wide variety of methods available for communicating the desired message. In order to create brand synergy, it is necessary to utilize many methods and media. As I said that, you see, in the story which we talked about, starting from messengers to pigeons to and so on, some methods they distinctively remained alive, and the complementarity between those methods got enhanced, and it became advantageous for the marketers as well as the receivers to use a complementary mode of message to be delivered and to be received, so that the effectiveness of message gets enhanced. And remember in COVID days when we used to get this caller tune wherein do gaz duri and mask hai zaruri, Mr. Bachchan used to say that, and that became very effective in terms of, as far as the whole scenario goes, effective communication, and that was very innovative. I do commend the thought process behind that, and I do commend the association of mobile with that kind of a thing, because at those days when you were confined in your homes, mobile was a main important mode of communication between people, and if you have that caller tune and that kind of an innovative and soothing voice, innovative message and soothing voice with a rhyming associated with that, do gaz duri mask hai zaruri, that was definitely effective, and that created a whole lot of not only soothing effect but awareness as well. I leave you with this thought of awareness and innovation, and although it is not a positive memory, the memory of COVID-19, when this innovation in communication came to our support, moral support as well as rescue. I will be coming back to you with lots of insights on innovation in integrated marketing communication in my next session. Till then, goodbye.